so he will not charge for that Sunday. Lai Yun says that he already told him he was cute. The viewers are surprised to see the last moves. It was so fast that they could only see the two beams of light colliding back and forth. One girl thinks that Lai Yun is amazing. She says she is a fan of Rauchen, and the 18 Steps of the Heavenly Demon is a masterpiece of the Tang family. It is very powerful and that guy could even fight against it. She wonders who is this Lai Yun. Lai Yun gets another hit from Rauchen. He tells him that talent is useless despite absolute power levels. Lai Yun replies that this is not necessarily true. Lai Yun thinks Rauchen is worthy of being among the top 10 candidates, and he can still resist the Mad Blade. He already stacked 3 layers. He attacks and thinks since the 3 layers are not enough, he will stack them up to 6. He adds the 4th layer in this attack, but Rauchen dodges it. Rauchen notices that the power of this kid's attacks has increased. Yunmu adds the 5th layer, which Rauchen blocks. He kicks Lai Yun's face. Lai Yun finally adds the 6th layer of attack. This time, he speaks the words with his mouth. Rauchen wonders what is this 6th layer that he just said. Then he looks at him and gets shocked as he looks at his string pressure, which is so scary. He thinks this kind of string pressure is impossible at his level. He still does not know what this 6th layer is and how he grew to such a level quickly. Suddenly, he realizes that he is stacking attack power. Everything that he just attacked was feeding his skills. Rauchen realizes that he is in danger. Lai Yun finally uses his 6 layers of the Mad Blade to attack Rauchen. He thinks it is amazing. It seems to be a matter of victory and defeat. He also uses his final attack with 100% strength. It is a Heavenly Demon Dragon Fist attack. He does his best to block Lai Yun's attack but cannot stand it. Lai Yun's Mad Blade finally takes Rauchen. The screen only shows a beam and smoke. The viewers cannot believe that it is real. The winner is Lai Yun. They all cheer for him. It is unbelievable that Rauchen lost to a newcomer. The girls are now fans of Lai Yun. Xing is watching the match at his home. He notices Lai Yun's attack pattern and says it is getting more interesting. Lai Yun was given 98 points as he killed the opponent. He says it is worthy of being an expert as those are quite a lot of points. He tells Pedro to continue the challenge. This time, he challenges Baxing and defeats him as well. People are stunned to see this. He just won against Rauchen, and now he has won against Baxing, one of the top 10 candidates in Tianyun City. This could never be a coincidence. They all want to know who this Lai Yun is. Yunmu is sitting in the battle arena. He is exhausted. It is hard to fight against 2 experts in a row. He notices that he has 30,000 extra dimensional coins in his account. He asks Pedro about it. He tells him that it is pay-per-view mode. Yunmu asks what that is. Pedro says when the fan value reaches 10,000, the system will automatically turn on pay-per-view mode. Once turned on, they must provide dimensional coins to watch his live battles. Yunmu says he has become a big celebrity by surprise. He tells Pedro he is done today and wants to go offline. He comes back to his look. It is late. He says his mother will be waiting for him. Suddenly, Nuoji video calls him. She asks him loudly if he watched the fight with a man named Lai Yun. He says he watched it, but why is she so excited about it? She says that guy was amazing. Now Tianyun Ford is discussing about him. She asks him if that Lai Yun is him. They both use the Mad Blade, and their names are very similar. He replies how is that possible, as he is not that strong. She says she knows it is him, but now it is all over the place. Yunmu thinks he has to find a way to control the rumors. Suddenly, she asks him if he is the son of some ancient hidden family. Lai Yun is his brother, and the Mad Blade is his family's masterpiece. It makes sense that they both are so aggressive. After all, families like theirs are the most fearsome of all. Yunmu thinks he does not have a backer, but he can make people think he is the son of some ancient hidden sect, saving a lot of trouble. He accepts in front of her that Lai Yun is his brother. He will not pretend anymore. He tells her he has only shared his secret with her, so she should not tell anyone else. She replies that he needs not worry as his secret is safe with her. She hangs up the call after saying goodbye. After that, she wonders if he has only told her about his secret identity. She does not know the reason, but she feels slightly happy. Nuoji's words reminded Yunmu that he decided to fake a powerful clan alone. He has to find a reasonable explanation for his extraordinary strength, and also has to find a backer for himself. Yunmu used the number 2 spot to pinch the 3rd virtual world character, Lai Feng, to build momentum. He let numbers 1 and 2 enter the virtual world together in the image of Lai Yun and Lai Feng. As the 3 appear on the dimensional battlefield together, the rumor that Lai Yun was Lai Yunmu is dispelled. At the same time, the news of a secluded clan reappearing in the world spread like a bomb instantly. After a few days, Yunmu walks around while talking to Nuoji on the call. She says there are rumors everywhere about his brother and he is not even anxious. He is happy in the heart and wants these rumors to spread more. But she tells her that there is no way anyway. It has been exposed. It is no use in worrying. She tells him that Ruochen never played a match after being defeated by Lai Yun. But this morning, he came online and never got off, so she guesses he is in the middle of something. She asks him to tell his brother to be more careful. He says he will let him know. Suddenly, he notices a lot of people gathered around a shop. He tells her that he will call her later. He passes through those people and gets into the store. He sees some rich guys trying to be friends with his sister. Her sister is in a fix. He tells the customers that the store will be closed early today. If they want to do business, they can come back tomorrow morning. After the customers leave, he tells her he leaves the shop to her because he believes she can handle these things properly. He asks why it turned out to be like this. She apologizes to him. He says he is not blaming her, so she should not be sorry. He says he did not expect her to be so popular in the virtual world. It seems that the customers are all young masters from rich families. Maybe she will marry into a rich family to live the life of a princess. She says she will not live such a life. She just wants to live with her parents and him. He changes the topic and asks if the crystals he needs are ready. She says it is ready and asks why he needs such many crystals. He thinks it is a huge amount of crystals, but it is only a few square meters in the star world. The price is even higher than a house. Suddenly, he gets a video call from Lingen. He requests him to come and help. They have lost miserably. He asks him to come to the dimensional battlefield. Yunmu asks him to wait and speak first. The call disconnects. He takes the box of crystals and tells Ruyan that he will not be back tonight, so she should inform the mother about it. Lingen and Sai are fighting verbally with the opponents. He asks them to say it again if he dares to. This time, he will blow them up. The opponent says he should think he is great because he has learned a few battle techniques. Even if he has many A-level combat skills, he cannot show them. They laugh at them and say their Big Bear team is nothing once Shuang is absent. The Big Bear team is answering them equally. Zai tells them not to be so clever. Their trump card will be there soon. They make fun of her as she is not even part of their team. Yunmu comes there and asks them what trouble they had while he was gone. He says that Sister Shuang has only been away for a few days and they cannot stay problem-free. Zai starts crying and tells him that they are bullying them. Kang excitedly says that the best trump card of the Big Bear team has come. Now, those guys will lose. Yunmu says he did not say he would fight. Lingen comes to him and asks him while crying if he will not help them in taking revenge. Yunmu says that he looked, and the level on the other side was not very high. It stands to reason that the bears should not be too bad to deal with them. They should not have lost badly. Lingen says that, honestly speaking, Xin is a bit strange today. He is feeling unmotivated to fight. It is like deliberately losing to the other team. This is shocking for Yunmu that Xin is losing intentionally. A member of the opponent's team asks if they are still coming. If not, they will leave as they have no time to waste with that garbage. Lingen says he bet 100,000 crystals that they will win this round. Piang says that they can add another person because his team has one more person now. He allows them to add whoever they want as long as they have Yunmu. The man wearing the eye protectors calls it a great idea. He asks his brother to come out as their opponent has taken the bait. It is Ruochen who is the addition to the opponent's team. He says that it must be hard for the Big Bear team to try to be the villain. They have worked hard. They are all shocked to see Ruochen there. He says that only betting 100,000 crystals would be meaningless. He asks if they should increase the amount. Yunmu wonders what Tang Ruochen is doing here. Ruochen apologizes to them as his friends have spoken badly to them. They did it just to bring out Yunmu. Yunmu says it does not matter if they lure him out. He still does not want to fight with him. Ruochen says he still needs a good blade if willing to fight with him. He shows him a blade and says it belongs to Yunmu. Sai recognizes that blade and says it is a snow blade. Lingen asks her what a snow blade is. She tells him that the snow blade is forged from the dry, cold marrow blood ore of Tianqian Mountain. Although it is a B-grade sword, it has infinite potential. It will be in a grade rune combat sword as long as it is engraved with the appropriate runes. If one can refine it, the quality will rise and become a fifth-dimensional weapon. Xing says the snowblade is attractive, but they cannot afford to gamble on anything else in the same grade. He apologizes to Ruochen for that and replies that they can take the knife whether they win or lose. But if he wins, they will let him meet with Lai Yun. Yunmu thinks this guy is so smart to make an offer that he cannot refuse. He did not expect him to have such a deep obsession with Lai Yun. Yunmu says he promises him and finalizes the deal. The match has been decided between Yunmu and Ruochen. The viewers are discussing different aspects of this fight. Some are interested to know if the Tang family has the resources to take out the Snowblade, valued at 10 million. Some are interested to know why Ruochen found Yunmu even though Lai Yun had defeated him in the previous fight. They think Lai Yun has no time to pay attention to him, and his defeat must brush up on his presence. The battle countdown starts. Yunmu is surprised to see the venue for the group fight. It is the size of an entire island rainforest. Xing asks him if he is nervous about his first team battle. He laughs and says he is working hard not to be. He tells others not to steal Ruochen from him. Xing replies they will not fight with him. They cannot beat him. The battle begins. Yunmu brings out his bow. He calls from the ravens to see what they can do. Xing asks him when he learned how to use a bow. He realizes that Xing is right. He does not know how to use a bow yet. He does not know any of the bow and arrow moves. He asks the system what bow and arrow moves he can learn now. He tells him to be fast as he does not have much time. The system replies that the move he can learn is Lunar Eclipse, and the required value is. Yunmu interrupts it and says whatever it is, do it fast as he is in a hurry. Xing looks at him, who is not moving. He thinks that the connection has been dropped. Suddenly, they hear the voice of someone in the woods. Xing alerts everyone to get ready for the fight. He tells Zai to watch Yunmu as his connection seems problematic. But at that moment, Yunmu jumps over Xing's head. He uses his bow to attack the enemy. The viewers are surprised as they thought Yunmu had just mad blade skill. They wonder how he can attack when the enemy is still on the ground. But they are stunned when he shoots 7 arrows in a flash. They think he is worthy of being a descendant of the Lai family. The opponent's team is unaware of what to do against it. Those arrows pass by one of them, but not a single one pierces through him. He is surprised to see that he is unharmed. Seeing this, the viewers start shouting that this skill is useless. They want him to use the mad blade as they are here to watch it. But Yunmu activates the Lunar Eclipse mode. The arrows are shot back to create a magical creature that appears there and kills that opponent. Now, the viewers are also afraid and wonder what kind of brutal move that was. The whole person was torn into pieces before them. The other members of the Tang family are trying to hide as Yunmu's bow has a long range. Another member's bad luck works, and an arrow passes by him, making him wounded. Ruochen asks him if he is fine. He says he is okay, as it is just a scratch. But a raven takes him away by holding him in his claws. He lifts him, and an arrow shot kills him there. Yunmu now has 3 more enemies left. The viewers are shocked to see a raven. They have only seen these 5th-dimensional creatures in books before. They wonder how Yunmu could have them as in the book. It is written that Ralph, the destroyer king of ravens, has been sealed. The 3rd member of the Tang family is running to get close to the Big Bear team. At the same time, he is also shot by an arrow. He tells his team that he cannot get closer to them as the area within his range is simply his slaughterhouse. The ravens slaughter him instantly when he is complaining about it. Ruochen tells his partner that now the 2 of them are left. He tells him not to let the arrows hit him. The blood will attract the ravens. He says he knows that, but it is not that easy not to get shot. Yunmu released another attack. That big guy brings out his sword to kill those ravens. He tells Ruochen that he will not run away. He will confront them. He replies that, in that case, he covers Ruochen in front. They will approach him slowly. Before they even move from there, an arrow hits that big guy's head, and he gets killed. Yunmu is standing on the tip of a tall tree. He is glad as his only opponent is now Ruochen. Yunmu's teammates look at him and complain they do not get the chance to fight at all, and it does not seem like a team battle as there is no sense of participation. A golden ray emerged from the woods when he was busy paying attention to his friends. It is a golden crystal string pressure. He wonders where it came from. He looks down and sees Ruochen is controlling that power. He has finally found Yunmu. Yunmu asks him if he has borrowed that pair of armed guards to break through the cultivation limit. He replies that it was intended against Lai Yun's mad blade. It seems that he has to use it now. He starts punching the tree where Yunmu is standing. The tree shakes, and he falls. He stabilizes, jumps again, and pulls the bowstring to shoot another attack. Ruochen uses a magic shield to protect himself. Yunmu laughs and says he lets it get in the way. He says it is now up to his raven and sends him. He replies that this pile of crows is annoying. He tells him to wait until he blows his precious crows. He orders a berserker to come out of his body. The other wonder what that thing is. Xing says it must be a soldier's soul if he is not mistaken. Yunmu makes fun of him and says his soldier's soul is handsome. He looks at the ravens and says how dare they come back. He says he will blast them into pieces. That berserker starts grabbing the ravens and crushes them with one hand only. Ruochen has killed 2 ravens. Now, only one is left. Yunmu cannot get in at all. There is only one raven left, so that it will be difficult. He calls Ralph and asks if he can hear him. Ralph asks why he has called him. He asks if he can see that guy down there and if he can win against him. Ralph says that something like that is not even a match for his toes. Yunmu says that the raven he gave him is all about to be wiped out. Ralph asks if he thinks he has as much power as his toes. Yunmu asks him to lend him more power. That berserker is about to kill the third one. Ralph says this is not how it works. Their deal was he gave power when Yunmu unsealed him. This is what he said. Yunmu tells the system to release the seal with all his internal power values. The system acts accordingly. Ralph tells him that he does not have internal power values saved up a lot at this time. Yunmu asks if the seal has been lifted. He replies that it is not even close, but he can lend him more power. Yunmu receives his grace. The berserker kills the last raven as well. Ryuachin as he has killed all 3 of them. Yunmu comes there and asks if he ever said something like he has only 3 of them. He sends more of them and orders them to tear him apart. They all surround Ryuachin, but he kills them as well. Yunmu is hopeless as all his ravens are beaten up to a pulp. He wonders what he should do now. Ralph says he will take care of the berserker. Suddenly, all the pieces of dead ravens start gathering. Ryuachin is stunned to see that golden string power. All those ravens gather up to create the shape of King Ralph. The viewers are surprised to see that. It is so big they wonder what kind of battle they are watching and if the strongest son of the Lai family may be Yunmu. Yunmu is glad as his Ralph is much bigger and more handsome than Berserker. Ralph considers it his insult that a mere Berserker dares to stand before this king. Ralph tells Yunmu to watch closely how this king takes him to victory. Ralph sends his fire raven, and it burns that berserker to ashes. Ryuachin realizes that this time, it is a complete loss. The Big Bear team has won the challenge. The viewers wonder why the result is 1 versus 5 when it was a team battle. They think that this Lai family is full of monsters. The system tells him that he has gained 169 empty points. Yunmu thanks Ralph and calls him brother. Ralph orders him not to call a king like that. Suddenly, Zai jumps on his back and calls Yunmu amazing. Zhang asks if that is the bow he got in the treasure house. It looks like he has found a treasure. He replies that it was just his good luck. Xing advises him to use this power well, taking him to a higher level. Yunmu comes back to the real world after a long time. Suddenly, the system appears and informs him that he has earned a certain amount of points in the battle, which can also be used to expand the star world. Yunmu gets irritated and asks if the system is trying to screw him with that thing again. He cannot even see a hair in that vacant space. At this moment, Kang calls him outside and asks him to open the door. He goes to him and asks what's wrong now. He tells him that he just passed by the reception room. The uncle there asked him to tell Yunmu that someone ID looking for him. It seems to be Ryuachin. Yunmu asks him why he is here again. Yunmu sees that pretty boy standing there. He asks him if he is waiting for him and why he makes him think he cannot live without him for an hour. Ryuachin forwards a case and says here is his promised snow blade. Yunmu is glad to see his honesty and admires his trustworthiness. He takes the box from his hand. Ryuachin tells him that this jade box is made of white jade with Tianqian dry years of cold marrow, so it is the best place to put the weapon on the box to keep it cool when not in use. Yunmu reminds him that he said that he tried to trick his friends and gambled with the blade for the sake of seeing Lai Yun again, so he asks him if it is worth it now. Ryuachin apologizes to him for doing bad to his friends. He explains that he could not calm down since the competition with Lai Yun. He would like to learn more about his Mad Blade. Yunmu thinks the loss to the Mad Blade has left Ryuachin with a knot in his heart. Ryuachin says he took his chances but will not bother him again. Yunmu looks at his bent shoulders and back and thinks he looks lonely. He will stay stuck like this if he does not get rid of the knot. This guy is not a bad gut by nature. He calls Ryuachin, so he turns his head back to him. Yunmu says that he will fight with him using the Mad Blade. Ryuachin becomes glad and excited to hear that. He asks to ensure that Yunmu means what he says. The students around them look at them and wonder if they will fight again in the real world. Ryuachin looks around, says many people are around, and asks Yunmu if he is sure he wants to fight in this world. He replies that he does not need to worry about it. He has an enchantment shield. He throws that ball in his hand, which converts into a big sphere. Yunmu tells him to go inside as just 2 will be there. Seeing them going in, the students get disappointed as they cannot see them fighting. It's been 1 hour since they both went inside the enchantment shield. The students are still waiting for them quietly. Suddenly, they see someone coming out. They are all waiting to know who comes out first and wins the match. But they all are surprised when they come together, holding each other. They both are bruised and wounded. Yunmu tells Ryuachin that fighting with real swords and guns in the real world is surely fun. Ryuachin smiles and agrees with him. A student comes to them and asks who won the match. Yunmu smirks and says no one knows this answer. Yunmu is panting while sitting on that bench after that deadly fight. He tells Ryuachin that he has been fighting with him for so long and then asks if he should not get some runes or something in return. He asks what he means by that and tells him that he himself is having a good time as well. Yunmu laughs and tells him not to be so cheap, as he knows that strengthening the snow blade is costly. Ryuachin's family is so rich anyway. Ryuachin tells him not to kidnap him morality and says there is no reason his family should give Yunmu money. Then he tells him that, in his opinion, Yunmu can go to the Tower of Glory to try. He asks what the Tower of Glory is. He tells him that the Tower of Glory was built in 9 years by the entire Stringers Guild Alliance and has 108 floors. Challengers need to defeat the dimensional beasts on each level to advance. Each time he moves up to the next level, the beasts will become more and more powerful. Yunmu understands it like playing a game. Ryuachin says that if he succeeds in the challenge, he will get a tower badge, which can be exchanged for various rewards. He stands from the bench and says he has told him how to get richer, but the rest is up to him. Yunmu thinks about it and says he might try it if time allows. After a while, a senior passes by there and sees him sitting there alone. He asks him why he is sitting there alone with such an injury. It seems he got into a fight. He gets alert listening to the senior's voice. He tells him that Tianyun Fort will enter the dimension of the Magic Bull Valley battlefield in a few days and will stay there for a month. He says while Yunmu is at it, he can go down and collect experience and gather materials. He thinks Yunmu is a great talent, and it would be a shame to miss this opportunity. He thanks the senior for this information. 3 days later, in the library, Yunmu is trying to study a map while having a lot of books on his desk. He finds that stuff too hard to understand as he cannot digest everything. He does not know how, but he has to do it. He has to cheer up Ryuachin, after all. He remembers that Ryuachin gave him that map. Upon asking, he told Yunmu that this was the map of the entrance to the secret area. He said the entrance was roughly in the dark area of the Magic Bull Valley battlefield of Moloch Mountain. He heard Yunmu would go in a while, so he gave him that map. He looked at the map and asked what it was, as he could not understand anything. Ryuachin replied that the texts above were ancient languages that he needed to decipher himself, and it was up to him whether he could or not. While sitting in the library, Yunmu says Moloch Mountain is 130,800,640 kilometers from the battlefield in the Magic Bull Valley. Suddenly, Nuoji comes there and tells him that this area is a great and dangerous dimension, and a dark one at that. She asks if he is not looking for information about the battlefield of the Magic Bull's Valley, then what is he looking for in that dangerous place? He says it is nothing but just a bit of curiosity. He heard about this place some time ago. She makes an angry face and replies that she does not believe him. Suddenly, she starts shouting at him and asks if he knows how dangerous it is there. He tells her to keep her voice down as they are in the library, but she does not listen. She keeps yelling at him and says that even if he has a strong defensive technique and is a member of a secret family, he cannot go to that kind of place if he wants to. She is about to cry as she is being anxious. He looks at her with love, pats her head, and says he knows it already. He cleans her tears, tries to console her, and says he is a fool who always makes her worry about him. He apologizes to her for that. He says that place must be dangerous, so she was so excited. But that's the way things are in this world. He tells her that even if it is dangerous, he still has to do what he must. To make her happy, he kids with her and makes a deal with her. He promises to come back alive for her no matter what. He giggles, forwards his pinky, and makes a pinky promise. She wipes out her tears and says with false anger that it is none of her business if he comes back or not. He means nothing to her. Still, she holds her pinky to ensure she will wait for him. He laughs and tries to make her laugh by saying she looks good when she smiles. She leaves him here and says she no longer cares about him, but he must tell her if something is wrong. He replies he will. The Team Big Bear looks at them secretly and says their Yunmu is popular and very good at this. But Zai is angry and jealous. Yunmu comes back to his desk and sees the picture of Moloch Mountain. It seems that this trip will be dangerous. Yunmu fills out the registration form at the reception of the Glory Tower. The receptionist tells him that he can go and pay the delivery fee, and he is done after that. While on his way to pay the fee, he thinks that a fee of 500,000 for going to the Tower of Glory is too much. He says he would not be here if he did not need the Ice Ancient Rune to refine his sword. Shu Qingyu and Lin Lai are there as well. Wai tells her that there are a lot of silver stringers. Qingyu says of course, anyone who dares to come here is an expert. Lin looks at Yunmu from behind and tells Qingyu to look at him, as he looks like a black crystal stringer. Yunmu is asking the guy to give him a discount as he is asking for it sincerely. Lin says it is not surprising that people are here, even if they have the cultivation level of black crystal. Their combat power is much higher than that of an average person. King-woo ignores her and wonders why there is a familiar feeling on that person's body. Yunmu is still trying to bargain at the place of paying the fee. King-woo thinks that just seeing this back, she wants to beat him up. She calls him politely, and he turns his face to her. He is shocked to see her as he recognizes her somehow. He turns his face back and wonders why this woman is here and if she is here with Lin Lai. This is a disaster as the two women who hate him most are now here. He thinks of a plan. He stands up, makes a weird face, and tells King-woo that he assumes she called him. It turned out to be two beautiful girls. Lin is surprised to look at him and says that guy is so unique looking. King-woo apologizes to him, saying she got the wrong person. Yunmu tries to ensure she does not doubt him and behaves like a bad guy. He says this pretty girl's mother did not tell her that this way of talking to men is very easy to be abducted. She gets angry and asks how he dares to talk rudely to her. She asks if he knows who she is. He tries to scare her and replies he does not care who she is, but if she bothers him again, he will tear her clothes. He keeps talking rubbish. Lin pulls King-woo away and says she does not need to fight that madman. King-woo thinks the ugly guy looks like a monkey and calls him names. After those girls are gone, he sets his face back to normal. He says his face has become stiff and his eyes rolled for a long time. It almost made him vomit. He thinks that it cannot go on like this. Suddenly, he sees a girl selling some souvenir masks. He goes to her and buys one. He enters the star world and wonders how many string crystals they must use to make such a large star world. He is wearing the mask of an aquatic monster. King-woo slaps his head from behind and asks what an ugly monster is doing here and if he is frightened by the astral world of string ancestors. He asks what string ancestors are. She asks how he does not even know about this. Then, she tells him that the string ancestor is the guild's founder and the first human to awaken the power of strings. In those dark times, he gave mankind a ray of hope. Yunmu surprisingly asks if the old man from over 200 years ago is still alive. She tells him not to talk nonsense and says the old man is healthy. She asks if it is his first time here in this tower. She tells him not to underestimate the power of the Stringers Guild to build the Tower of Glory. If he does not do so, he will not even know how to die. Yunmu is stunned to hear that people can die here in this world. She says that the Tower of Glory is the 108th floor on the surface and 108th floor, which only extends below the surface. People call it the Tower of the Fallen, and only those who have traveled to a dark area and received the Fallen Past are eligible to enter. He thinks that the place he will go is also a dark area. Suddenly, the Tower of Glory appears there. He looks at that and says it is a strange building. She tells him that nothing in this world looks weirder than his face. She says she is going, and he is on his own here. He calls her pretty sister and asks if she is leaving. She gets angry and tells her not to call her pretty sister. Yunmu says it is time to see what this tower is all about. He enters the tower. He finds 3 doors there. They all have a title of the Stringer, the title of the Super Stringer, and the title of the Saint Stringer, each on one door. He wonders what they are now. The system tells him that a Super Stringer is a realm that has surpassed the Stringer tier, and a Saint Stringer is an existence that has surpassed the Super Stringer. He wonders if there is more on top of the rainbow crystal. He asks the system if that means he can only enter the Stringer now. Then, he notices that each door has a ranking. He takes off his mask and is happy to see that the martial arts lunatic is already on the list. It means he cannot lose to the tower. Suddenly, the system warns him that he is in an evil space. The system scans the Tower of Glory and asks him to be patient. He wonders how this space is evil. He asks if this star world is not created by a string ancestor, so how can this be evil? The system completes the scan and tells him that the Shadow Hangout map has been added. It also tells that the tower was detected to be divided into 3,333 separate small dimensional spaces. Yunmu asks if it is all. Then, the system tells him that once he dies in the tower will absorb all of his spirit energy. That was a real shock for him to get. He asks the system what he means by that. It recipes that the owner of this space will absorb any challenger who dies in the tower his spirit energy. Yunmu says that it is just a trial tower, but to do it to the extent that people might die is unusual. He wonders if it is because someone is using the prize system to lure the best and the brightest from each continent to break into the tower so that they can absorb their spirit energy and grow the star world. He asks the system if the string ancestor who created this tower was the first human hero to awaken. Then, he orders the system to scan the entire Tower of Glory in depth to find the location of the string ancestor. The system completes the deep scan and says it has found the traces of the string ancestor. Yunmu asks where he is now. It replies that after the in-depth inspection, the system speculates this tower is a joint incarnation of the Realm Master and the Dimension. Yunmu wonders if he is watching his every move now. The system says the String Ancestor wants to become a true god, and to do that, he is gathering the 12 stars. All his consciousness is temporarily forgotten in the void. Now, the men who manage the Tower of Glory are some low-level intelligent beings. Yunmu says that he needs 12 stars to become a true god, and he has already condensed 7. He is only 5 away from becoming a true god. A man who is considered a hero by all mankind is willing to kill people to become a god. He calls it disgusting. He says that since that guy is so good at using people, he will also use it to gain some profit. With saying that, he enters the door to the first level. After entering the room, he is surprised as it is empty. But he is unaware that the monsters are hiding behind him on the upper wall of the door. All of a sudden, they attack him. He looks back after hearing the noise, but the monster wounds him with his claws. He gets thrown away. He hardly stabilizes him on the floor. His arm is bleeding. He thinks that he is almost going to die. He recognizes these monsters. These are Hell's Claw rats. He has heard that the strength of these things is comparable to the top ordinary crystal stringers. He asks how they can release 9 of them at the same time. This is only the first level. He wonders how much that ancestor wants to kill the people. Those rats roar and again attack him. Yunmu is glad they are coming together, as he is not free to play with them. He orders the shadow system to start. The shadows are killing those Hell's Claw rats. Shadow number 2 helps number 1 in killing. Yunmu praises them and says they have learned to work together after training in the dimensional battlefield for so long. He looks around. It seems this layer has been cleared, so he calls back the shadows. Then he notices something coming up from underground. He touches it and finds that it is an exchange tablet. He reads the rates of ice runes and other items and sees that they are not expensive at all. If he compares it with real money, it costs 1 million to buy 1 ice rune. He is surprised to find holy technique, meditation string power, and other treasures only available in the 6th dimension. He cannot believe that such high-end things can be exchanged here. He thinks that it is no wonder so many stringers would rather gamble their lives to challenge this tower. But the real shock is when he sees the blood of the Shadow Goddess, and it is available in 25 tower coins only. He recalls when he opened a box and got a seed in it. The system congratulated him for obtaining the secret treasure Shadow Seed. He doubted if that seed was a treasure or not. The system informed him that the seed needed to be watered with the blood of the Shadow Goddess to blossom and bear fruit. Then, he could obtain the top secret treasure. He told the system to forget about it, as the Shadow Goddess was a 7th dimensional lifelike race that lived in the depths of the shadow and was difficult to contact. He couldn't get her blood. Yunmu was amazed that something so hard to get could be exchanged here. He has to find a way to get this thing, but he only has 10 tower coins right now. The system warns him that the host's greed is detected to be expanding and tells him to act within his means. He gets irritated and tells the system to shut up. He says he will be careful. This is only the first layer. If he goes to the upper layers, it will not be a problem to get what he wants. He reaches level 2 of the Tower of Glory and faces 19 Hellclaw rats there. But both shadows take care of them easily. With every passing level, the number of the Hellclaw rats increases by 10. But he successfully clears all the levels. He has made it to the 5th floor without even thinking about it. But on this floor, he needs to be a little more serious. Here, he has to fight 49 Hellclaw rats and a Hellclaw rat warlord. He and the shadows move forward to fight. But this warlord is too huge to be handled by the shadows. Shadow number 1 attacks on his left side, but that big monster smashes the shadow to the ground. Yunmu is in a fix, as it is not even possible to get in. He commands the number 2 to attract the big rat's attention. He asks number 1 how long he will lie down. He tells him to get up and go to work. He orders him to kill all the little rats. Since there are no benefits from close combat, he decides to use his raven bow. He calls the Celestial Eater. It bites the big rat's arm. Yunmu orders it to explode, and it does. The smoke clears, and the fight is over. Yunmu wonders why there are so many tower coins. It means the big rat is worth more than the small rat. The Shadow One has killed all the small rats also. He is now hopeful and wants to keep breaking through like this. The fans of the Yun family are disappointed as they have not been online for a few days. They wonder what is wrong with them. They are angry and say it must be Ruochen who lost in the enchantment, and he did not dare to appear. Even Lai Yun and Lai Feng dare not to show up on the battlefield of Dimension. Suddenly, a special broadcast is broadcast. They are congratulating Yunwu of the Central Continent. As an ordinary crystal stringer, he has successfully passed the 10th floor of the Tower of Glory. The guy holding the wind glass cannot believe this news. A golden-haired guy comes to a mysterious person and gives him the requested information. He looks at Yunmu's profile and asks if this kid is only at the ordinary layer, and if he has reached the 10th floor of the Tower of Glory. The golden-haired guy replies yes. He says that the side of the Temple of War issued a notice that Yunmu was listed as a tester in the Temple of War. The mysterious guy laughs and says those old guys quickly send him announcements. He, at this moment, appoints Yunmu as the Major General of King City. He and his family are officially qualified to reside in King City of the Central Continent, and he has bestowed the residence of the Major General. After a while, the Temple of War broadcasts announcements. They listed Yunmu as a tester and obtained the qualification for the trial of the Temple of War. The King City of the Central Continent issued the notice that Yunmu was appointed as the Major General of the Central Continent. The young Star General's residence was granted permission to form his own Star General's Guard. The crowd is shocked to hear the announcements and wonders if the Temple of War and the Stringers Guild are stealing people now. They consider this reaction too fast. Some old people wonder if this is a way to enroll an ordinary crystal layer stringer. The old lady says it is the first she has seen this in all her years of life, and it seems that he is a remarkable young man. On the other hand, Yunmu clears the 11th floor of the Tower of Glory by killing 99 Hellclaw rats and 5 Hell Rat warlords. After that, he sits there as he is almost at his limit. He says it had been a long time since he had fought with full strength, and now he knows what he is capable of. If he teams up with Shadow numbers 1 and 2, he should be able to defeat the Golden Crystal Stringers. He looks at the exchange tablet to see how many coins he has earned till now. He discovers that 1 Hellclaw Rat Warlord is worth 300 Towers coins, and now he has 2730 coins in total. So, it means that now he can purchase the blood of the Shadow Goddess. Yunmu says it is just the 11th floor, and he has so much. These tower coins are not so hard to get. The system tells him that as T the host is a common crystal stringer, he has a higher difficulty breaking into the tower, and therefore he receives a bonus. Ordinary crystal stringers can get a bonus for each layer. Yunmu realizes that he never allowed himself to advance to a black crystal. He clicks a button on the tab, and a dazzling ray emerges. He wonders what that ray was. Right after that, he observes a scale that appears in front of him out of nowhere. A voice guides him to give his tower coin to the scales. He places his coins on one plate of the scales. On the other side of the scale, the blood of the Shadow Goddess appears. He picks it up and plans to water the shadow seeds with it. He enters the Star Realm, but he was shocked to see the mess there. These are the things that he randomly threw in the Star Realm. He starts searching for the shadow seed as he remembers he threw it here somewhere. After some searching, he finds out that tiny seed. After that, he digs a hole, places the seed in it, and buries it in the soil. Then, he pours the blood on it. The seed turns into a plant in a moment. He is waiting for the flower to bloom. Suddenly, the flower bursts and emits some rays. He falls away due to the intensity of the rays. He has been shaken twice in such a short time. He thinks he will be blinded soon if this pattern continues. He crawls near to see what he planted. It is a tiny baby girl that is sleeping on the flower bud. The system congratulates him on successfully giving birth to the Shadow Queen. Yunmu looks at her pretty face. He loves this cute little thing. He wants to poke her little cheeks. The cute little queen awakes and stretches out. They both look at each other. Yunmu tells her his name and asks her for her name. She blinks her eyes, stretches her arms forward, calls Yunmu Papa, and asks him to hold her. Listening to her calling him her dad makes him fly in the air. He falls to the ground and thinks his life is worth it. He holds the baby in his hands and says he never thought a seed could grow a child. He tells the little one that from today, she will stagger him. The baby opens her mouth to show that she is hungry. He tells her that he does not have anything to eat on him right now. He tells her to hold back a bit for now, and when they get outside, he will feed her. But the baby starts crying. His heart breaks seeing his baby crying, and he starts thinking of a way. The system informs him that the Shadow Queen feeds on blood to survive, and the host can feed her some of his blood. Yunmu forwards his finger and tells her to drink as much as she wants. She becomes happy and starts sucking the blood. He looks at her with affection and thinks a small loss of blood is nothing for such a lovely daughter. Besides, she is so young and cannot drink much. After a while, he gets irritated and asks why she keeps sucking. He says even an elephant cannot take it like that. The system tells him that his blood is of poor quality. Therefore, the Shadow Queen must draw more inferior blood to fulfill her hunger. She stops drinking after half an hour. She looks happy after satisfying her hunger, while he looks like a bony skull about to die. After that, he drinks a high-calorie wolfberry drink to compensate for his blood loss. He never thought he would one day almost die from nursing a baby. Suddenly, she appears on his shoulder and starts cuddling on his neck. The system informs him that the Queen of Shadows walks in the void layer. If she does not want to show herself, others cannot see her. Yunmu finds it convenient. The system also informs him about her strongest ability to duplicate cultivation. He asks what duplicate cultivation is. It replies that she can copy the cultivation of any stringer below the saint rank. He asks if that means she is better than him. The system replies that this is not the case, because the specific cultivation base she can replicate depends on how much strength he instills in her. Yunmu asks the little one to go, who is playing there alone. He tells her that dad will teach her how to fight. He comes back to the Tower of Glory. At his current level, he does not find any rat monsters. They have been changed with birds. He is at 12 layers and must face 9 flying demon birds here. The little one also shows a fighting spirit, but she comes back running to her dad while crying. The demon bird attacks her with the ice breath. Yunmu runs fast and grabs her in his hand. He looks at her and thanks God that she is safe. He starts yelling at those demons about how they could do this to someone else's child. He looks furious and says he will send them to hell. He tells her baby to wait there as he will return shortly. He jumps over one demon bird and starts pulling off her feathers. He says he is indebted to her for what she did to his child. He cuts her wings and she falls to the ground. He tells those bird people not to underestimate an old father's power of love. He starts killing those demons with his cold blade. The remaining demon birds attack him with sound waves. The waves are so strong that even the floor cracks. His body goes under the shock and cannot move. As he is frozen, the demon bird rushes to him and hits him hard. The baby queen is worried to see her dad getting beaten up. That strike hits him hard, and he falls away on the ground. While lying on the floor in a wounded state, he thinks that he is dead if he cannot break those troublesome sound waves. The demon bird sends another wave towards him. He is worried as he is about to die. His body starts bleeding badly. Seeing her father like this, the little queen starts screaming. Then she starts inhaling the air. Yunmu sees that she is combining the sound waves with air and swallowing them together. He wonders what kind of strange powers his little one has. He stands up, cleans his blood, and asks her baby to come with him to fight together. Half an hour later, in the virtual world, a special broadcast is cast. They congratulate Yunmu of the Central Continent as he successfully passed the 15th floor of the Tower of Glory as an ordinary crystal stringer. People cannot believe that this common crystal stringer is still moving up the ladder. The news is cast all over the world. His school friend watches it and is excited to see his best friend growing. Yunmu's teacher is in the classroom and hears about it there. He thinks the news has already caused a global sensation on 6 continents. He wants Yunmu to keep going and make a name for himself. Sister Shuang is in the wilderness, hunting down the monsters when she receives it. She is proud of him and says she cannot wait to return and compete with him again. Choyan is in his room when he sees that on TV. He is surprised that Yunmu has passed the first 15 floors so quickly. He is sure that he will be yelled at by his dad when he finds out about it. He says he will not give up so easily. In a compound in Yuntain Fortress, the assassin who attacked Yunmu during the competition apologizes to his master as he should not have missed that time. His master says that he never thought that this kid would have such great potential. In the future, he will be the trump card of the Jiefeng city and become a threat to them. His disciple asks what they should do now. This guy has now been promoted to Major General. With his current power, he might be able to find out that they tried to assassinate him. The master says that with the power of the common crystal, breaking through 15 floors of the Tower of Glory is not too unbelievable. But if it is with the War Saint bloodline, all of this makes sense. He orders his servant to spread the news that Yunmu has the War Saint bloodline. The more people know, the better. That guy laughs and understands that his master is trying to make Yunmu die without a burial place. Yunmu comes after clearing the 20 floors. He says that after going through the 20th floor, he will enter the ranking, so it will not be too shameful. The system says that he can hide the number of floors he has cleared so that his name will not appear on the leaderboard. He asks why he did not tell him about that earlier. He says it is better to turn it off. After all, he does not want to attract attention. On the other hand, his fans keep an eye on him and see that he has broken through the 20th floor and made it to the top of the ranking list of the stringer. This is the first time since the tower was built that someone has squeezed into the rankings as an ordinary stringer. But suddenly, it disappears from the screen. They wonder where it went as it was there a moment ago. A few wonder if Yunmu died. The others tell them that he must have hidden his ranking. Powerful people like to engage in a sense of mystery. A guy says he has just heard a message that Yunmu has War Saint bloodline. The other starts believing that rumor and adds that it's no wonder his skill can advance by leaps and bounds. A spy hears the rumor and says he must report this to the clan quickly. Yunmu comes out of the tower after spending so long there. The air outside is still fresh and he looks happy. He looks at the bag that is full of treasure and thinks he did a great harvest. As soon as he steps among people, they start staring at him and whispering about him. They say he hides his accomplishments so that no one knows how many floors he has broken through. Seeing that he has such a pocket of stuff on his back, it could break through 30 or 40 floors. Some say that they have heard he has War Saint bloodline. He feels irritated and wonders why everyone is paying attention to him. At the Tianyang City Stringers Union, Qingyang tells Kingu to return. He thinks that Yunmu is dead, as the rankings are not showing anymore. That guy with blue hair says that even if he is not dead, it is too much for him, the young lord of the city, to wait for him. Kingu tells him not to complain as this is the important work his dad has explained, so he should not neglect it. Suddenly, they see some movements in the portal as someone emerges. Yunmu comes out and feels annoyed as this 50W transmission fee is expensive. As soon as he comes out, he sees Kingu walking towards him. He wears that mask quickly and asks her why she is still here. He says he knows he is handsome, but there is no need to be so pestering. She yells at him to stop his nonsense. She tells him that he does not need to pretend as she knows he is Yunmu. He does not need to worry as she is not here to bother him. She is here by order of the city lord to take him to the city lord's house. Qingyang says there is no way this guy who looks like a fool is Yunmu. Yunmu takes off his mask and says it's him who is a fool. They both start fighting. Qingyang asks if he knows who he is. He says he can kill him right here. Yunmu says he is nothing but just a bum. Kingu separates them and tells Yunmu to come with her without wasting time. He says he will not go with them as he does not know what they are doing. Suddenly, the screen appears as Nuoji has called him. She starts yelling as he picks up the call. She was worried as he was not taking her calls and thought he was dead in the tower. He tells her to stop crying and asks how she knows he went to the tower. She says that she is not alone. Now, almost the whole world knows it. He asks what the whole world knows, but Nuoji comes there instantly and greets Nuoji. They are seeing them after a long time. She asks her why she is with Yunmu. She says her dad asked her to pick him up, but he seems somewhat defensive towards them. Nuoji asks him to go with her and says Kingu is her best friend and she will not hurt him. He still does not want to go, so she starts crying and requesting him. He finally agrees, as he cannot see her crying. Then, he hangs up the call and asks Kingu to lead the way. He calls her pretty sister again. She gets irritated and says if her dad did not want him, she would have killed him right now. Qingyang also thinks that this guy is annoying. They reach a big villa. Yunmu asks if this is the place they had to come to. He says it is gorgeous, worthy of being the residence of the Lord of Tianyang City. She says that if he likes it, he can look around it and decorate his Qinglong house like it. He makes a face to tell that he does not know what she is talking about. She asks shockingly if he does not know what happened outside during his stay in the tower. She tells him about the announcements by the King City and the temple or war. Qingyang looks at him and calls him an idiot. He is shocked to hear Kinyu and asks if he is not beyond the ranking. He has deliberately hidden his ranking. She says that there is also a piece of bad news. Now, it is rumored that he has a War Saint bloodline. He asks what this is now. She is shocked that he even does not know about it. She informs him that the War Saint is the highest level of the Saint Stringers, the pinnacle of the world's kings. The direct descendants of the War Saints are likely to have a powerful War Saint bloodline. Refining this War Saint bloodline can increase the possibility of promotion to Saint Stringers. She understands that the world's Stringers are coveting to see the bloodline in him. He says his father is a captain. How can he have a War Saint bloodline? She says they have their judgment on whether he has a bloodline or not. She opens the door and introduces him to her Sky Cloud City, which wants to make a deal with him. Inside that conference room, many people are already sitting, waiting for his arrival. They all are representatives of different cities. The elder of the Qingyang clan tells Yunmu they have been waiting for him for so long and asks him to sit. He puts his bag on the table and tells them that if they have something to say, they can say it now as none of them have time to waste. And he has a lot of work to do. One of those men laughs aloud and says he is arrogant, but he likes it. The elder of the Qingyang City says that he cannot say whether he likes it or not. He asks if he knows that in Tianyang City Guild President and the City Lord are two opposing forces. These two sides are evenly matched, with little friction, and Tianyang City maintains a delicate balance. Yunmu comments on it and says no matter what era it is, the object of human struggles is still human, which is ironic. That guy says that recently, this balance is about to be broken, so they have invited him here. He hopes the Lai family behind him can join their Tianyang City Lord's faction. If the Lai family is willing to join, they will act as his backer to protect him. Yunmu wonders if they tried half a day to pull him into a gang. He apologizes and refuses the offer. That guy asks if he knows what his situation is now without them. He rolls his eyes and says they might have forgotten that he is a member of the Lai family and his family can protect him. They start making offers to lure him. The representative of Stringer City says that he will send the Lai family 10 secret books. Yunmu says they do not need any secret manual. Kingu says they can send a Wei Chang to the Lai family to show the WHP. King Yang asks why they are conceding to such an extent. Kingu adds that in addition to the previous offer, all the tax revenue will go to the Lai family and does not need to be paid to Tianyang City. That is the best deal they can offer. This condition means something that he, being smart, should know very well. He knows that she is right. It means he will have a fully autonomous city with a steady stream of money. But his family plus the shadows is only 6 people. There is no way they can manage a city. It also means that it will reveal that Lai's family is fake. He says although their offer is very tempting, he cannot accept it. King Yang slams his hand on the table and says it is enough now. He has been put up with this guy for a long time. He asks him if he knows whom he is talking to. They are giving him some face, but he is so arrogant. He asks him what he thinks of himself. He calls his men there. Kingu worries about the situation and asks what he is trying to do. He smirks and says since the kid is so unfriendly and will not cooperate with them, why don't they just refine him and send him to a neutral clan in exchange for their loyalty? Yunmu starts beating those men of King Yang. They admit that he is very strong and ask King Yang if he did not say he is just an ordinary crystal stringer. But it does not look like the power of an ordinary crystal. The representative of Sky Dragon City says that there is no point in using the realm to judge his strengths or weaknesses. It's just that he did not advance on purpose. Maybe his battle power has been beyond the level of a saint. King Yang yells at his men and asks how so many people cannot control a single boy. He orders them to get him no matter what. Another guy tries to punch him, but Yunmu grabs his arm and throws him to the ground. King Yang is shocked to see his strength. Kingu asks King Yang to tell his people to stop. No one has permitted him to do this. She asks others what they are doing sitting there and why they are not stopping them. The elder of the Kang clan says there is no hurry to do that since he is so dismissive of their offers. He would like to see what Yunmu is capable of. She is stunned as she cannot believe him saying that. King Yang is yelling in anger. He says all his men are losers as they cannot capture an ordinary kid. He thinks they do not want to do it intentionally. Yunmu beats all his men and then walks towards him. He smiles and tells him that it is his turn now. King Yang is scared. He crawls back and tells Yunmu to stop. He begs him not to come closer to him. Kingu sees Yunmu's electrified hands and wonders how he has the power of thunder attribute. She remembers that when he was in the arena, he was just an ordinary crystal. Yunmu runs towards him to punch him. All of a sudden, a blast happens and smoke spreads all over the place. Yunmu jumps back. All the people in the room are shocked as it is unbelievable to them that the kid killed King Yang. As the smoke clears, they see some kind of light there. It is a defensive screen that protects him. Suddenly, a feeble voice sounds in his head. The old man asks Yunmu to be merciful. He says this inferior brat is too arrogant, so Yunmu should not care about him. He will punish King Yang himself. Yunmu knows that it is telepathic communication and wonders if there is a Saint Stringer around. The representative of Stringer CTY says that this is the voice of the city lord. He is surprised to know that the lord made a move. Yunmu says he will give the city lord a face since he has spoken personally. He cleared that he had no intention to kill his son, so he should not worry too much. He only knows that a guy relying on his father and being useless is not worthy of him to kill. The old man asks Kingu to bring Yunmu to the back garden as he wants to see him in person. She is taking him there when he tells her that their house is huge. Yunmu asks the little queen if she is there on his shoulder. She replies yes. He instructs her that she should see an old man in a moment, and as soon as she sees him, she has to copy his cultivation skills. Kingu opens the door to the back garden. An old man is sitting near the fountain. Yunmu is stunned to see his body. He is feeble and still alive. The old man smiles and says he is glad to see him in person. The lord notices Yunmu's worry, so he removes his shirt and says he knows it is a shock. Yunmu definitely would not have expected a legendary saint to look this miserable. She tells him that the reason her father became like this was because he used a secret technique to force himself to become a saint, and it backfired. The lord says if he looks closely at this boy, he looks good. He tells his daughter that she is still young, so she should consider him for her. She irritatingly tells her father to stop this conversation. Yunmu asks the old man if he has called him here to see him and his daughter enjoying each other. The lord laughs and says he was just kidding. He asked him to come because he needed the strength of the Lai family to move into Tianyang City with the Green Cloud sect to check and balance the power of the Stringers Guild. He says that Yunmu can see he is dying, and if in his present form, once he is dead, Tianyang City will change drastically. As the lord of this land, he does not want to see Tianyang City ruined because of this. Yunmu apologizes and says they are just a small family, and he does not think they can help him much. He thinks that he does not want to get involved in their business, not to mention that he is the only one in the Lai family, so who else can help? The old man asks him to come near him for a moment. He asks him to stretch out his ears as he has something to tell him. He whispers in Yunmu's ears that he knows that the Lai family does not exist. Yunmu is shocked to hear that truth. He stumbles back in shock and asks how he found out about that. He wonders what other secrets that old man knows about him. What does he want? And if he is threatening him to do things for him. The old man tells her daughter to stand back for a moment. He has something to say to Yunmu in private. He starts coughing, and she worriedly says it is time for him to rest. He replies that he is okay and will not talk for a long. He tells Yunmu not to be nervous as he will not hurt him. He tells him to sit with him. Yunmu sits with him unwillingly. The old man tells him that he will not eat him so he can relax. Yunmu makes a long face and asks how he learned that the Lai family is fake. He smiles and says he got in with him. The answer is unexpected for Yunmu. The old man says his man could not find any trace of the Lai family. He then became suspicious of whether the Lai family was real or fake. Yunmu feels betrayed and says he is cunning, like an old fox. The Lord says it would be impossible to arrest and take him to make friends with other clans. He knows that Yunmu does not have the War Saint bloodline at all. Yunmu is now being casual and taunts that he is sorry to disappoint him. The old man says that he might as well join him with the Lai family. Yunmu says the Lord is old and confused. He asks if he does not know that the Lai family is fake. He does not think joining him will do anything at all to improve his power. He replies that whether the Lai family is real or false is unimportant. It does not matter what the truth is. What matters is that he makes people fear him in a way they cannot see. That's what he needs. Then he forwards a jade pendant towards him and says it is for him to take. He says Kingu is a good girl. She was an orphan, and when he met her on the street, she was no better off than he is now. After he adopted her, she always wanted to do something for him to repay him. Now, he will die at any time, and his son will only add to the chaos. Kingu will have a hard time alone. She needs help. He says he has been watching Yunmu for a long time, and he has been following him since the Zhangshuo contest. He is very capable, and he wants to entrust his daughter to him. With someone like him by her side, when he closes his eyes, there is nothing to worry about. Yunmu makes a joke and asks if he wants him to be his son-in-law. He laughs and says the Lord should start preparing the bride price. It is very expensive to make him a son-in-law. Suddenly, he walks toward her, places a hand on her shoulder, and behaves casually. She asks him if they are done talking. He replies yes. She inquires what her father told him. He asks why he would tell her as it was a conversation between men. While going downstairs, she asks him if he has decided to join them. He says he does not know yet as he has not thought about it. Suddenly, she sees the jade pendant in his hand that he is rolling and asks why he has it. He replies that it was given to him by her father. He asks what's wrong with this thing and if it is useful. She shows him the one that she possesses. They hold those pieces together. She tells him that this is the rune key of the 7th dimension, which guides the holder to open the secret realm when the two holders reach the metaphysical realm. She warns him not to let anyone know that he has this pendant, or else he might be killed. He asks why it means a lot to her. Her cheeks turn pink as she gets angry. She tells him to forget about it as it is nothing and then turns back. Suddenly, the system informs him that the Shadow Queen has successfully copied the realm of others and has awakened a saint-level talent, a transcendent realm-killing technique, and a saint realm secret technique. But to use this power, he must give the Shadow Queen many empty points. Yunmu commands the system to give her all the points he has. Kainu opens the door of the conference room and is surprised to see a familiar face sitting there. He asks her what took her so long as he has been waiting for half a day. He asks why the discussion meeting started before he arrived. Yunmu asks her who that guy is as he has not seen him here before. She says that he is a second-tier clan agent who supports King Yong. His name is Wang Tianba. She tells Yunmu that he does not need to pay attention to him. Tianba looks at Yunmu and asks if he is the representative of the Lai family. He makes jokes about him as he is a common Crystal Realm kid. He also says that the city lord seems confused as he allows anyone to come here. The elder of the Qingyan city warns him to watch his mouth. He asks how he dares to disrespect the city lord while he is still alive. It seems he wants to split up. He informs him that brother Yunmu has not agreed to join Tianyang City. They both are guests here, and they must respect the manners. Tianba is surprised to know that. He says that King Wu's ability to do things is too bad. If she cannot handle this small matter, he thinks she should give up the throne to King Yong. He adds that, as a woman, it is easy to lure a man into a relationship. Yunmu dislikes his nonsense. Tianba keeps going and says she must learn how to use her body. Then he starts laughing hysterically. She feels ashamed and disrespected before everyone, and her head bends. Yunmu notices her reaction and that she is not defending herself. He puts his shoes on the table in a manner to create a noise and addresses Tianba, saying that his breath smells too bad and asks if he had not brushed his teeth when he got up. Tianba stops laughing. He adds that he is so old, but he has the nerve to talk such trash to a young girl. He calls him a scumbag. Tianba feels insulted and says although Yunmu is a